America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Invent America show on the Invent America Radio Network. This is the Cajun Contractor, Michael King, co-host with the Invent Lady herself, here on the King's Broadcasting Network and all across this great country of ours. Rita, I know last week you were in the Maui state, Hawaii. And
I was, yes.
You just got out of the Tennessee mountains big time because of the snow. And I understand you came back
to the snow, yes.
To the snow, huh?
And, we normally get this amount maybe over the entire winter season, and we got it overnight and then had to drive back through it. So, yeah, it's always good to get home, but, could have taken a little more sunshine. So anyway, that's the way it goes.
Well, there's a lot going on. It's the beginning of the year here. It's going to be trade show time. We're going to be on that mighty bird, traveling all across the country, taking our show on the road. You're going to be at ASD Market Week. I'm going to be at the International Builders Show. We're going to be just all over the country, from east to west, from Orlando to Las Vegas. So a lot going on. But I want to talk about ASD Market Week. That is a very important part about what you do. Companies, the companies you represent, the future companies you might represent, and also that you're right in the middle of the thick of things. So let's talk about ASD Market Week, a little bit about the plans that you have, in where you at in the stage, and what can we do here on the Invent America show to really so tell us what's going on.
The ASD Market Week is the one that we found that is the greatest representation of consumer products. The cool thing for us is that we are the only innovation area there. So, Stephanie, our VP of Buyer Relations, always says, hey, everybody knows what's old. They want to see what's new. The buyers want to see what's new. Stores want access to new products. They want to answer to their consumers' needs. And if the consumer already bought one, they want to see what's new. And ASD Market Week, across the board for any industry, auto industry, tools, baby products, kitchen gadgets, anything, they represent the most. There are 3 floors at the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's huge. But the other cool thing is that it is open to the consumer. So people who are out there can come in and, buy things. That's one of the other things is that they encourage sales. Sell, sell, sell. And there's a lot of those professional trade shows that don't want you selling. They don't want transactions on the floor. Yeah. And, this is one of the big ones. So, big advantages to being part of ASD Market Week rather than some of those other shows that we used to go to. And, they want us there. They treat us well. They put us in the front. So, if you're out there and you've got a product, by all means, let me know, because we can still add you to the list and get you out there. We're right inside the front doors, by the badge pickup, by the tool area. We've got 7 staff people that go and help represent your product to the buyers. So it's huge.
Well, my take on is this, that if you decide to participate with you on this show, not on this show, but at the show, I'm sorry, you are going to be so far ahead of the game in your journey to get that product to market. because
Absolutely.
the value of the information you're going to have from the manufacturers, from the consumer, I mean, the feedback, the connections you're going to get, and
It makes a difference. The buyers know we are there. And,
yeah,
you go by yourself, they don't know, they don't even know to go look for you. This is not where, build it and they will come. This is, we've been there. We let them know we're there. We let them know you are there. But an inventor, for the first time, they don't even know what to do. They've said, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. What can I do ahead of time? And, going with us is a fraction of the cost of going by themselves.
yeah,
And they get all the support they need online and print and, post show.
yeah.
And they don't get that by themselves. And that's why this is such a big deal.
Yeah, it is, and I'm excited once a year, and that you promote the ASD and have a place to exhibit your the companies that you're proud of, that you screen big time, and realistic have been through the total process to get that product to market.
Yeah.
Which is
And for a lot of inventors, if they're going and they've got inventory, the ones who went last year sold all of their inventory, everything that they
yeah,
had.
yeah,
And whether they brought it with them or had it in a warehouse, they sold it. Then there's other inventors who have some inventory and, want to see what they can find for licensing options. They found that. And then, there's some that they need market research. So in 3 days, you can talk to more people who represent consumers than you can in 6 months online and social media. It's crazy. And I get people that say, well, I'm doing a Kickstarter campaign. Going to the trade show is cheaper than doing a Kickstarter campaign, faster than doing a Kickstarter campaign. And you know what? If you hit your mark on a Kickstarter campaign, you're more likely to be bankrupt in 4 weeks than you are to be making a profit.
good point. Good point. Well, a lot going on. I'm excited. Again, as I said, that I'm going to be at the International Building Show in Orlando. You're going to be at ASD Market Week, and we're going to be, all over, spreading love, spreading the gospel according to the Cajun contractor, Michael. But I love it. I'm going to be, we're here in our 29th year on the air, and it never gets old for me. And I don't travel as much as I used to do, because I used to hit them all. The roofing show, hardware show, World of Concrete, and I just simply can't do it anymore. And but there's certain shows I love going to that just keep me educated on the future.
Yeah.
The future's bright.
There's
It's bright. Yeah.
There's a show. There is a show for almost every single product.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And I've been to the National Asphalt Show. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
And licensed a product there. So there's just nothing like a show where you go, you shake hands, you see what's going on, and it's amazing.
Product Market Week. Well,
yep.
you got a real good show planned. We only got a couple minutes. Can you kind of give us a little rundown of what can we expect coming up?
Well, we're going to talk about, getting those prototypes ready, and, how for some folks it's really frustrating. For some, it's really challenging and exciting to see how a prototype evolves from your basic duct tape and cardboard to the final thing that you're taking to the show. And Noah McNeely is my industry expert, but he's got several of the inventors that he's doing prototypes for to get them to the show.
Yeah. We only got about a minute left. I need to let my audience that I'm going to have to be signing off shortly. I got to hop on that big bird to Orlando. I'm leaving in a little while. I have to. I sit on a couple committees, and I'm going to be a guest speaker at one of the early talks over there, and I have a lot I have to do. And Rita, you're going to have to take it over, man. But this show's in good hands. So we're going to take a short break right here. This is the Invent America show here on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. Stay with us for the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton, who's going to have, I think, Mr. Bob Mussey will be her guest, and I'll see y'all next week, and I'll let all of y'all know how the talk that the speaker that I did. All right, we take a short break. We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned now. You hear?
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. We love to put out new products for the consumer and then let you know where you can go and get them and how they're going to make your life more productive, more entertaining, or just happier because it's easier. So this segment is brought to you by Wooden Wood. WeNeedGutters.com. You know, if you've got a place along your roof line that is dropping water where it shouldn't be, WeNeedGutters.com is where you need to go to find the fix. I did my own, got mine so that the water doesn't run down on my head when I go out the front door. Easy, inexpensive, and oh, holy cow, it works. So WeNeedGutters.com. My first guest right now is Bob Mussey.
Mussey. Okay.
Mussey. I got to change the vowels in that so I say it right. Anyway, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. So, Bob, tell us what you invented.
So I invented a unique twist to a classic backyard game called Cornhole. I added 3 targets instead of 1 and placed them in strategic locations so that it didn't take away from the natural feel and shots of traditional cornhole, but rather added 3 of them to 1 game board.
Well, I've been to the website and looked at these. It's really fun. I mean, you can put, tailor make it to the way someone wants it. TripleThreatCornhole.com is where you go to find the product, and wonderful images on there about, just how you can make it unique to someone's desire. And the testimonials on it were just wonderful, that people had so much fun being able to, really make the game their own.
Yes, and we have multiple games that can be played on 1 game board, from Cornhole Baseball, where 2 players play from the same side of the board, and so your teammate's standing next to you versus on the opposite side of the field. And then they play together to strategize how to score points every inning. We have a dart version of like a cricket, where you have 3, 2, 1, where you got to close out each number on the board, which is each hole. So it's fun. It's fun for multiple skill levels. It's kind of like having the opportunity for sloppy pool, where there's 3 targets instead of 1. So if you're not as skilled as another player, you can get lucky and hit one of the holes and not just aiming for 1. So I think that's a nice addition to
it's a lot of fun, and you actually allow someone. One of the things that I noticed is that you've got your standard way of putting the 3 holes on there, but if somebody wants them different, you can do them different.
Yes, we did have a league that did change every time they played. They drew cards, and then they designated those holes different point values for each time, which it's unique because it makes the player have to throw for different targets. And,
all right.
And that's a good addition to adding to your skill level.
I've got a very specific question because of our topic today. How did your prototype evolve? How did you go through that process early on when you're thinking, oh, we've got an idea how to do this thing, but how did you adjust it as you went through the steps?
So the nice thing about this is it's made with wood. So I didn't have to come up with any extravagant prototype. I could build it in my garage. So I built a set, and we actually live in a marina. So I brought it to the marina and we played. And through playing with some friends that had played regular cornhole is when it really we discovered various ways to play, new rules that needed to be added, and it kind of evolved from there. And then I started building them, and then later I contracted with a large scale builder for cornhole boards called Cornhole Solutions. So they actually have the facility to build our sets, and that's where they're coming from right now.
Well, I think this would be really popular at some of the retirement communities, where they're not going to go jogging, all right, but they can get out and socialize and play a game and have a really good time.
Yes, for sure. And cornhole is used a lot within the senior community for sure, because the bags are lighter than like a horseshoes type game, and so it's conducive for many different players.
Well, I think it would be just a ton of fun to have you at ASD Market Week with us, where we can put you on a corner and then get people to play, and get out there and have just a really good time with it.
I agree with you, and we are seriously considering that. We're looking forward to that opportunity.
So what's next? What's your ultimate goal?
So we have had conversations with some high level manufacturers that are more in, like, let's say, the backyard toy space, and to come up with a very affordable. There's two different sizes for this game. One is more conducive to the family. It's played from a shorter distance with shorter or smaller, lighter bags. And so one goal is to get in line with a licensee to be able to bring this to market in a larger scale, big box locations, stuff like that. So that's still our goal, our main goal. I think it would be a great asset to a family's backyard or basement in the wintertime, or garage in inclement weather, and so on. So that's our big.
That sounds great. And, I know that if Noah is listening, he and I are both thinking exactly the same thing on who to put you in touch with. So, hey, get signed up for ASD Market Week, and we got the next part covered. So right now, where can someone go to get you?
So there's two places. You can go to triplethreatcornhole.com and order from there. Cornhole Solutions, they have a website that they have our product listed on, and you can order directly from them or order directly from our website.
So how long have you been working on this? How long have you been selling it?
I believe the patent pending went into effect in 2020. So we've been working on it for about 5 years. Had some consideration. It just didn't work at that time with a very, very large manufacturer. So we're not giving up. We're hoping to land that one day to bring this to the larger scale market.
So, well, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for being with us. We will get that website posted for anybody who wants it. And we will be right back, everybody, with my next guest. I call him Tony, but he shows up as a Dwayne on the internet. But we're going to introduce him as Tony because that's where he says Tony here. And oh yeah, that funny guy. So this is Rita Crompton with Invent America. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back. If you're an inventor or an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org. And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. My guest for this segment is Tony, and he's got the nose tee. Tony, thanks for being with us, and tell everybody, what is the nose tee?
The nose tee is a device that stops nosebleeds in a matter of seconds.
All right, so it's not a Kleenex being shoved up the nose. That's what my daughters did. It's been a few decades ago, but yeah, gee, my nose is bleeding, Mom. So how is yours different than a Kleenex stuck up the nose?
Well, I discovered several years ago that if you apply pressure on what's called the Little's area, excuse me, got up a little hoarse this morning. But if you apply pressure on what's known as the Little's area around the nose, it will stop 90% of nosebleeds. 90% of nosebleeds are of the arterial type, which are originated in the frontal area of the face. There is a posterior nosebleed that can be generated from the rear of the head. The nose T does not work on those, but they're only about 5 to 10% of nosebleeds. But this covers 90% of nosebleed, scratching, irritation, dust, bump to the nose. It stops those. We even did a test marketing sort of just to find out if it would stop nosebleeds on the outside of the nose. And we did a test at a parlor where they'd done nose piercings, and it worked there too.
All right.
And it goes under the lip is where it goes. And then as you curl your lip, it pushes it up against the blood vessel that's feeding the blood to the nose and shuts it off instantly.
There you go. All right. So now you explain, and you must be able to read my mind because you answered the next question for me before I even asked it. So how did you, this is not something, a mother, fixes a nosebleed and just, Kleenex on the nose and, lay down and put some ice on the nose, whatever. And from what I'm hearing is that that's not maybe going to work. But how did you come up with this? This is not something that everybody knows.
I know it's a strange situation. I was at a church having a nosebleed, and I was in the bathroom, and this gentleman come out of the stall, and he said, if you apply pressure, and he showed me what to do, he said, your nosebleed will stop. Because I've had nosebleeds since I was a kid. And I did what he said. I applied the pressure at the place that he said to apply it, and it stopped instantly. And as soon as that happened, by the way, I've not seen this person ever since, so I don't know if he was an angel or what it was, but whatever he was, he fixed the nosebleed. And I decided at that point, there's a lot of sufferers like me, children that could use this knowledge. And I went to work raising capital to get it done. And that's where I'm at now.
All right. So as you were going through the process, how many times did you have to adjust your prototype to get it right?
This was the challenge, and this is why it's taken so long, because Rita, we couldn't just walk up to somebody and just hit them in the nose and say, here, try this. That
Probably
wasn't
not.
allowed.
Go to jail.
We could have, but we'd have went to jail. So I used myself as a test dummy. I made my nosebleed twice when we sort of fine-tuned the prototype. And then I had to wait on people to have nosebleeds to use them. And fortunately, one of my daughters had frequent nosebleeds, and she actually had two in one night, and she said in both times it stopped instantly. So at that point, we decided that we had fallen upon the right size, the right dimension, the comfortability of the area where it's going to go, and that's when we moved forward with production. It took a long time, obviously.
Yeah, because like you said, it's not like you can walk up and, punch somebody in the nose and say, okay, here, try this without, them saying, oh, let's call the police too. I mean, and even your daughter, when you say, fortunately, I had a daughter who had nosebleeds, it's like, I'm not really sure that, flows right. But, good for you.
Yeah, good for the testing part of it anyway.
There you go. There you go. And nosebleeds are kind of just a matter of fact these days. Little kids are playing, they get a nosebleed. Some people like you are more susceptible to them, allergies, all kinds of things. And boy, to have an easy way to fix it, it's got to that's wonderful. So what's next? What are you looking at as far as getting your product out there bigger, better? What are you planning?
Well, we actually have them already manufactured. They come in a jar, and this is one of them here. It's very small. It fits under the lip. It's made out of FDA medically approved silicone, and there's instructions that comes with the jar. We have them up online at walmart.com. I actually fulfilled an order this morning that came in last night. And so you can order them. There's a 10-piece jar, 3-piece pack. There's a first aid kit that we put together that has other items as well as the nose tee. You can get a 20-piece jar, I believe, there. And also you can get them in green, red, and white now. We actually started distributing them in school colors because wrestling teams are using them, any contact sports, karate, places like that, really benefit from these. So we started producing them in some of the school colors. I would like to do a huge launch nationwide because that would be a great way to introduce it to the market. But we need one more investor that, has the same passion we do. And so we're looking for that. But right now, our goal is to get it. We've identified 10 lanes of distribution. It's been said that it will be a unicorn at one point, which is a $1 billion business. So once it hits the, global market, the sky's the limit. So that's what we're looking for, is that one more investor to help us push it over the top.
I know where you could go and show off and get a lot of sales.
I heard about this place.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So, everybody who had inventory last year sold it all. And so a very good place to and
Yes, I've sold out at shows before. I didn't carry a lot, but I did sell out because I like selling products. And actually, we sold them to people overseas,
yeah.
foreign countries while we were there.
We had a lady last year who went with us, and she had hers. Most of it was in a big container in a warehouse, and there was a little shop on an island someplace in the Pacific. They bought all of it, and she
Wow.
just shipped the whole bucket. She goes, I don't care what kind of label they put on it. We're just going to ship it all to them, and I sold it, and I can go back and get some more of that stuff made. So it was a great show for the folks who had inventory. People couldn't buy stuff fast enough, and that was wonderful. So anyway, I'm going to be after you to join us at the show because you've got one of those really cool products to get out there, and we can help you find the buyers and everything. But we get inventors who want to go because they want to sell stuff, and they can get a lot of then different types of connections when they go to the show. So that's why it's been such a big deal. And I want to thank you for being on with us today. I'm excited to be able to help you and help get the word out. So you've been selling now for a while. You've been working on this for several years, and getting it out there. It's wonderful to meet you, and thank you so much for being with us. If you are an inventor out there and you've got a product, join us on the radio. It doesn't cost anything to be on the radio and brag, because you know what? I've got to have guests every single Monday. And we always are looking for that new inventor that's got a product to share, and we can help get it out there to the masses. And if you've got just starting on an invention or something, call me, because you know what? We've got a lot of resources out there, and a place you can go called the Inventors Roundtable. So, Tony, you've got, you want to be able to share with people who can ask you questions. Join us at the Inventors Roundtable meeting. We meet twice a month. The meetings don't cost anything, and sometimes the best information you get as a starting inventor is from someone who's experienced, like a Tony, and can say, okay, this is what I did. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm getting out there. And, that way, then you don't have to take the bumps and bruises that he did, because he's willing to share with you. We are going to be right back with Noah McNeely, our industry expert. He's going to talk about that evolution of the prototype and some of the different products he's getting ready for ASD Market Week. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. All right, so this segment I have got on Noah McNeely, my friend out there. We do a lot of work together, and he is getting products teed up for us to take to ASD Market Week. And Noah, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Rita. As always, it's a pleasure.
So how do you help inventors understand the process? Because it's not like, they can feed it to you. I know one of the Holly who's going with us, she says, well, he'll have, the first prototype, and then he'll have the better prototype. So
Right.
how does that work?
Well, it works a little, it works a little different depending on the product, but generally, like with Holly, her product is a little bit complex. It's got a motor, it's got moving mechanisms, it's not just a plastic widget. So we do have to go through the process of what I call proof of concept, where we're going to make at least one ugly prototype that works, and work out all the little details, kill all the little gremlins, which there's always some. We want to do that with basic 3D printing and shop methods because that's cheaper. Once we get those worked out, which should be this week, we're kind of down to the last gremlin or two at this point. Then we'll go and we'll make a second prototype or whatever number it is, using much higher quality parts that are more smoother, and we'll paint them, we'll make them look like nice production parts, and that'll be what she takes to the trade show.
So we are looking forward to that, because I think that her product especially has got multiple industries that it would apply to. And so it's a lot of times we get inventors, they'll get frustrated because it does take time. And the more complicated it is, the longer it takes to get through that prototype stage. And so it can be a challenge.
We're in that, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure kind of stage when we're doing prototypes like this. I think, and you probably have met inventors like this, they think a prototype is just a documentation of what their idea is. And that's really far from the truth. A prototyping process is really part of the development process. We can design stuff on the computer all day long. Until you bring that into the physical world, it's all theory. It's all, hey, that should work. Those parts should go together. The physics work. All theory. When you build one, and you start trying to use it, then you start finding, oh, well, that doesn't work because X, Y, Z. And you have to go back and you make adjustments, and you keep that process rolling. And then that's really where we are. Now, I know we've got at least 3 in-house that we were taking to the show. That's where we're kind of in the last stages of that process with all 3 of them.
That's probably good, because the show's in 6 weeks. And so
right.
I know you're racing to get those done. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of times is that inventors get frustrated because it's very clear in their head what they're trying to do. They don't understand that what they're trying to do sometimes is much more complicated to make it do.
And sometimes that's part of it. And sometimes inventors have a real tough time communicating out of their head to other people that are not living in their head what they're trying to do. So, I won't name any names, but people that we've worked with together in the past, that's been an issue. It's like they'll tell me it's going to do this and this and this, and then I'll build something that does this and this and this, and it turns out it was supposed to do that and that and that. So sometimes we have to go through that process a little bit. And I'm used to it. I've been doing this for 25 years. So, at this point, I kind of expect that half the time, but it's part of the, it's all part of the fun. It's a labor of love, working with inventors, as you know, and it's an evolution. Comes with the territory.
Yeah, a product is an evolution from, and I'll get people to say, well, I've got renderings. And I said, well, you can do renderings of life on Mars. It doesn't mean that there really is life on Mars. So renderings don't do it.
With AI, you can do a rendering in about a minute of all sorts of pretty things that can't exist. And
I know.
I have clients that come in with stuff like that, which is fine. That's great for them to communicate their ideas. I want something that looks kind of like this. And it's obviously the physics don't work in what I'm looking at there, but at least it's a starting point. It helps them communicate, the idea of the emotion that they're trying to capture or whatever it is. So, it's a useful tool, but it's not a prototype.
Right. And the other thing is, a lot of times we'll get the prototype to the show, and then when they start getting the feedback, that market research from the show is critical, because the buyers there are representing thousands of consumers. So they've got a pretty good idea of what something should cost, of what something, how it should work. And so a lot of times inventors don't realize that the prototype they're showing, now you've got to have a manufacturer's prototype for the manufacturing part of it, but it's got to hit a price point that buyers are willing to push.
Right. Yeah, and that's really the key. And, I think, as some people go to the show, they think they're going to be selling this product to one market, and they realize, oh, it's really popular in this other market. Now we got to go back and change things. Now, what we do prototype wise, we try to make it as close as possible to a manufacturing direction, but there are things we can do in a manufacturing setting that we can't do in prototype. So we have to oftentimes go back and make those, those adjustments as we get ready to ramp up with the factory. And the factory has, factories have tools and equipment that we're not going to have, that they can help with that process, but we guide them through that. And, but yeah, that's, getting to the first trade show prototype, that you're still not there. You're still not at a manufactured product yet. That's the next step.
Right. I know we had a gentleman last year that had beautiful, product, but nobody was willing to pay the price. And he was making, that wasn't even, somebody else making them. He was making them in his garage, one set at a time. And so what he realized was that he had to go into the manufacturing. He had to make them out of a more consumer favorable material so that people would pay for them. When he dropped his price to what everybody said, he sold everything he had, but he wasn't going to sell them at that artist level. He was going to be able to sell them at a consumer level. So anyway, Noah, thanks so much for being with us. You've always got great insight. I look forward to having you on again. And Noah McNeely with Product Quick Start. If you're out there working on a prototype, he's the man. I've heard that he can walk on water too sometimes, so you never know.
No,
all right.
Not well, but thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.